Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the Supernova Show! And I am your host, Colton Roberts, and we got a little bit of a more somber show today. Queen Elizabeth II died yesterday, and I was pretty sad about it. Still pretty sad about it. But we're going to carry on. We got sports talk. We're going to do predictions for all of the games that are coming up this week. We already did predictions for Thursday night's game privately. Then we're going to talk She-Hulk, then House of the Dragon, and then Rings of Power. But we got our main man, the reigning, defending, undisputed fandom fights team champion of the world, Mr. Robert Kastner.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
I never asked. Are you a Royals person? Do you love the royal family? Is that your bag?
Yeah, I am absolutely I understand they've got some screwed up stuff like in the past, or technically, I mean, according to your perspective, in the present. I mean, definitely Andrew. But I mean, yeah, I'm very much. I mean, I'm not English, so it doesn't really affect me. So them having a royal family doesn't affect me at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm absolutely. If I was an English person, then I'd be a monarchist. So
that's fair. The only monarchs I ever saw were the Danish royal family when I was in Denmark. It was really cool. It was the Queen's birthday, and they came out in the palace and on the balcony and waved at the commoners. We got to wave at them. There's a little kid. There's a balloon. It was very, very adorable. Yeah, it's so weird. I was listening to another show talk about it, and it's kind of crazy because there's a 10-day mourning period where she's going to be transported from Scotland. I guess she was in Scotland.
Yeah.
Coming back, she'll be put on display. You know, they'll do the whole walk through train. They did a walk to the train station, and they'll do all these things. And then Charles, who apparently he can take whatever name he wants from his list of names as the official monarch name, but he kept Charles. He will be the king. It'll be the first time in our lifetimes there was ever a king. And basically, we're probably going to have kings for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's going to be really weird because, like, as an American, I've seen 6 presidents come and go. I've been alive during 6 presidencies. So you were Reagan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Not that I remember, dear old Ronnie.
Yeah, I don't remember H. Bush, but I was alive during.
Yeah, I mean, I came in at the tail end of Ronnie because Bush would have been inaugurated in '89, so I would have been the tail end of Reagan.
Yeah. So, but she has been like the stable. Like I have
70 years.
Yeah, she's been, at least during my lifetime, she's been the one leader that I've always been like, that's the person.
Like, even though she doesn't technically affect anything policy.
But it's weird because like I've had a 5 British pound in my wallet for years and years, probably coming close to 10 years, but just sitting in my wallet. And it's going to be weird when they start printing things with Charles on it.
Charles and then William.
Yeah.
And then William's kid, whose name I forget.
George.
Thank you. I always think of Archie, but Archie gets nothing.
Yeah, something really bad has to happen for Archie to get something.
Well, he can't. Then he's not a monarch anymore. He's not in the family.
Well, no. I mean, Harry is still 5th in line for the throne.
What? I thought he abdicated. He still was in there?
Yeah, he's still in the line of succession.
Wow. I didn't know this.
William and all his kids have to die before.
Okay.
And
Not that I want that to happen, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
that's interesting. I didn't know that. I thought that was given up.
nope.
Interesting. Did you know it's weird that now they have to change the anthem?
Yeah, it's also weird that in the context of the James Bond movies, since the Daniel Craig ones are technically the farthest back in the past, and
Mm.
when we haven't reached the point of Her Majesty's Secret Service in the timeline, technically in the timeline, it's Charles that's king
Mm,
in the context of that.
it's so strange because the
Yeah,
only thing I think about when I think about kings is like the King's Speech
yeah,
in World War II, and she became monarch soon after that.
yeah. Um, like I had watched a video that was talking about all the Prince of Wales because people always make the joke that Elizabeth would outlive Charles, and Charles would never become
Yeah,
king.
become king. Yeah.
Yeah, it would just pass straight to William. And I, the channel, they put their video on private because so many people commented on it were like, "You made the joke about Queen Elizabeth not dying, and now she's dead." And I was like, "Man, people are the worst." Like, I've
Of
seen
course.
so many things on Twitter where Americans are just like, "Why do we care about this?" And
Well, to be honest, we shouldn't.
I mean, yeah, but she was like, a lot of people are blaming her for like colonialism and
Well,
stuff.
no, that's the. I mean, that was just born into the British Empire from
Yeah,
hundreds
like
of years ago.
during her reign was the most of like the decolonization of the British Empire.
Yeah, but like that was half them and half uh, nations taking back their sovereignty.
Yeah,
That was it. Was not all her being like no more slavery. It was her plus other people being like, yeah, we're done. We're done with this.
but yeah, like I mean, like I've always heard that that's the reason why her dad died so young was because he was the stress of World War II and the stress of the breakup of the British Empire drained his health, and then she came into it at 26 years old, and then was queen for 70 years.
Yep, killing it
Yeah,
as everything's being killed around her. Second longest reigning monarch ever.
yep.
It's crazy. I wonder how long she had to go to get to the longest reigning monarch. Do you know how long the Sun King reigned? He's number one.
Yeah, I think he was like 98 years. But if you factor in only his time as actual monarch and not having a regent, then she passed it.
She ruled for 72.
72.
So she almost was there. She would have had to get to 98.
Yeah, but he became king at like 4 years old, right?
He outlived his son and grandson.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep. I
Yeah, he became king according to this. Yeah, like when he was 10.
yeah, so like he wasn't like
Or no, he was just king like no, at 5 or 4. You're right.
yeah. So he wasn't like like actually in power until he was 18, I guess.
I don't know. I watched Game of Thrones with the Mormont child. She was like 8 and she ruled a house. So
Yeah.
realized.
Yeah, that's such a now we'll get into that later. But yeah, RIP.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the boat of not caring, and I say that because of what we talked about, where she was basically a figurehead. But I now understand it's a big deal for people, and
Yeah.
it happened quickly. We just got the notice, like health was failing, and then it was like hour later she's dead. Like, oh,
Yeah, I found out that her health was failing at like 10 o'clock, went
yeah,
to lunch, came back, and she was dead. And
yeah. I was like, damn.
I was at work and I wanted to cry.
I was like, they couldn't figure out a way to prolong that, or it was just, or I guess you have to give the Crown's spin doctors, their media spin doctors, a lot of credit for keeping that under wraps for so long.
But yeah, and then of course, like immediately, like Harry was in Europe, so he was one of the first people there, And like, so
They didn't bar him from the palace?
no, apparently not.
Yeah.
He was in Europe doing some like touring.
Is he touring for his and Megan's production company?
No, I don't think Megan was even there.
No, but I mean, like, was he? Because that's their venture, right? They're doing like they're doing a production or entertainment company or whatever it is, a news outlet company or
Yeah,
whatever it is.
I have no idea, but I know he flew to Scotland because he knew that she was in trouble, and then yeah, she passed away, and then he got all upset and left, which I understand. It was his grandmother, so like
Yeah,
yeah, and then they immediately like Charles immediately chose what his regnal name was going to be, and it was going to be Charles the Third, which I'm surprised at because Charles I and Charles II were like awful, like not good monarchs. Not like awful as in they're awful people, but just not good at their job. And
no, I mean, King Charles isn't in Hamilton.
yeah, like I'm surprised he didn't like I guarantee he didn't choose George because of his grandson.
Yeah,
But he could have chose Arthur. He could have been the first King Arthur.
it would have been no. I was listening to something. They're like, I mean, King Arthur was in the Transformers movie. That can't be redeemed anymore. I thought
Yeah,
that
but
was
like
funny.
all his other names are. I mean, I guess he could be King Philip.
Yeah, King Philip would have been cool.
Yeah,
He could have had a. He could have had he could have had somebody working under him. He could have had an assistant, a confidant named Terrence, and it would have just led to a bunch of jokes.
yes.
I mean, he's already a joke, but it would have led to more jokes.
Yeah. But I don't know. But yeah. How's your week been?
It's been pretty good. I only worked 2.5 days this week because of Labor Day, and then my wife's start of the 2 weeks per appointment started this week, so I took the day off to be with her for that. Got a sonogram and met our OBGYN officially for the first time, so that was cool. And then yesterday we had baby boot camp, which would have like started right when I ended work, so I took a half day. So I basically just worked like Tuesday today and half of Thursday. It's been great. And getting a new car tomorrow. I have my birthday present that my wife got months ago. We're going to go. It's an experience. It's a concert. We're going on Sunday. Steelers football starts on Sunday. Got all these fantasy leagues I got going on. So that all kind of whips up. I mean, the weekend's going to be awesome. And I'm off Monday. So it's all great.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad you are in a better mood than you were last week.
Oh, last week was awful. Yeah, I'm in a better place now for sure.
But yeah, like one of my coworkers, he's a huge Steelers fan. So I talked to him about the podcast and that we're going to do predictions. And I was like, my co-host, he is also a Steelers fan. He's like, I don't even know who that guy is, but I like him already.
Yeah,
I
think that about everybody I see on the streets. If I see people with bumper stickers, I'm just like, I don't know who you are, but something tells me that we'd have a kinship, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been good. How's yours been?
Kind of exhausting. I mean, Monday was really nice, so that was good. But then the last 4 days, because we were out Monday, work has been crazy, stupid busy.
Yeah,
because that's how that works.
Yeah, days off are nice, but because that happens to me, if I take a day off and then I have to catch up, and then it feels worse. So I sometimes don't like taking days off.
Yeah, like I work at a trucking company, so whenever all the drivers and everyone is off because of Labor Day, then we get back Tuesday, and then you have to make up for an entire day of work. So it's essentially like run to the bone the other 4 days instead of it being moderately busy. It was extremely busy.
I'm surprised everybody was off on Labor Day. I figured it's up because usually trucks never stop.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are definitely people that they ran, but in my area, like I work the local side, so it's like Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, and all those people are like, "Why in the world am I only gonna work a little bit and then come back home?" or I can just get paid like half a day's wage and sit on my butt.
Yeah,
Like, okay, I understand.
I get it.
Yep. I do
Well,
it.
I'm sorry you had to make up all that work. My God.
It happens. But hey, it gave me a lot of time to do some studying for some matches that I got coming up.
What?
Eventually, I'll have my TMG match, and then I got a match that NWO versus Duel of the Fates, and I really need to prepare for that. So
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a big one. You're going to have your work cut out for you.
Yes,
people know
absolutely.
that. Because people who watch this know all the trivia teams for sure.
Yeah, it's me and Ryan Payne.
Yep.
He's been on the show before.
He's known as the Caramel Mountain.
Yes, versus Brittany Tapley, the juggernaut of the fan leagues.
Yeah,
and Tyler Birch and
Bullet and T-Rex. If I remember these nicknames correctly. Does Ryan go by Caramel Mountain or does he go by something else?
I think he goes by Terrible Mountain.
Okay, he's done other ones, but that's the one I remember.
And then, do you remember what my nickname is? You should.
No, I actually don't.
The Supernova. Hence why this is.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yep.
No, and it's only just because I know those because I see them all the time. Yours I rarely see, so that's why.
Yeah, that's true. I was like,
never penetrates.
I was like, I've had.
Since we've been doing this, how many total matches have you played? Like 4, maybe?
No, well, probably less than that.
You played a Full Metal match.
Lost that.
Yeah.
Played my retirement match in TM Geek against Antonio.
Yeah.
Played against Anthony and Kaiser.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I did the TM Geek free for all.
Oh, you did the free for all
Bananas show, whatever it was.
Yeah, I'm still angry about that. It comes up with my feet sometimes.
GCCs, but those don't count.
Oh, well, okay. But by the way, that TM Geek that free for all comes up in my feed sometimes. It pisses me off every time. I'm like, why are you showing this to me? It just angers me.
Yeah, that was the one where I turned heel in the match because they were talking about ugly people named Chris, and instead of saying something else, I accidentally insulted a player. And
yes.
then, yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did.
Because I was going to insult Chris Day, but then I remembered, oh, yeah, none of these people like him. So I was midway through Chris Diaz and then went mad and was like, oh, crap.
Well, when you play the Team Geek team tournament, please, like, maybe you need to rectify that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I set that up, and then they never booked me a match with Chris. And I was like, hey, this could be his, like, revenge thing. But then they never did it.
Well, I mean, that one was just fate, that unfortunately, with the teams. You just didn't get a chance to be in Chris's division.
Yep. So, yeah.
I wonder if those matches are going to start airing again anytime.
I guess technically, if me and Ryan make it far enough to play him and Andrea, then we could play.
Spoiler alert, I don't think they're getting.
I mean, I tend to agree, but I also,
I said spoiler like I know. I don't. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
my feeling about it is that they're a one and done.
Yeah.
Or if they're not a one and done, everybody, if you haven't watched the Team Geek tournament, there was a match that I guess there's one match, and that's who they would play. And that team that won looked pretty good. So.
But all right, let's talk some NFL sports talk. All right,
Clash.
So we both chose the Rams.
Yeah, holy God.
And they got murdered.
I mean, so the first half it wasn't. It was like a weird, that happens usually in big games, especially if you haven't played in a while. 207 days since the Super Bowl was that game last night. And it looked like they were trying to feel each other out. The Bills had 3 turnovers, but the Rams couldn't do anything with them. And it looks like the Rams missed Odell Beckham. They managed to win the Super Bowl without him, but they could not compete in this game without him for sure. And then the Bills just turned it on in the second half and just
I
dominated.
know it was tied at the second half, and that's when I stopped watching.
Oh, I was at that baby boot camp. So I saw a little bit as we were walking through the hospital because they had it on some TVs. But then we had drove home, got food, came back, and I only watched like the last half of the third quarter and the fourth quarter when it was pretty much decided.
Yeah, well, I was watching it, and then when Rings of Power was supposed to come on, or what I thought it was supposed to come on, I put on Amazon and waited, and then just kept on clicking the thing. So then I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just crashing because sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
So then I went and watched She-Hulk because I forgot yesterday was Thursday because I swore yesterday was Wednesday all day until someone at work was like, "Did you watch She-Hulk?" And I was like, "No, it's not out till tomorrow." They're like, "It's Thursday, man." I was like, even though I went to church Wednesday night and I knew, yep, I woke up Thursday and thought it was Wednesday.
Gotcha.
So then I watched She-Hulk.
You were able to watch She-Hulk.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So,
but the point is that game just basically sort of, it didn't go as people intended. People usually like those primetime games to be a little bit better. And it basically just established that the Bills are sort of the favorites. And there's a good reason why, because they're really good.
All right. So I got this fancy piece of paper here. I don't know. Oh, I bought this from a Food Lion, not sponsored. Also,
not yet.
Also, I don't think those are outside of the Carolinas. So I think no one
Food
who's
Lions?
watching.
No, I've seen Food Lions.
Have they? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in the Carolinas, but I've seen them outside. I swear to God.
All right. Good deal. Eagles versus the Lions.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up I do things on ESPN where I do pick'ems. I want to pull up the one because I want to get the lines too. So let me try to pull that up really quick.
Okay, that would actually be good. And do you want to just say them out loud, or do you want to type them into the private chat?
I'll say them out loud.
Okay.
Okay. You said Eagles Lions.
Yep.
Okay. So the Eagles are 4.5 point favorites in Detroit.
Okay.
So we can do like win, and then we can do against the spread as well, if you want.
Okay. I don't know what any of that against the spread means.
So in this case, because the Eagles are 4.5 point favorites, that means the Lions are getting 4.5 points. So if you pick the Lions, you're either saying that they're going to win or they're going to lose by less than 5 points. If you pick the Eagles, then you're saying they're going to win by more than 5 points.
Okay.
Or 5 points or more, basically.
I was just going for who won?
If you want to do just the wins, that's fine. I'm gonna give the spread talk as well.
Yes, please do, because I don't know anything about this.
Okay.
And
one of the podcasts I listen to religiously, they try to guess the lines of the games before they know what they are officially. So I very well versed in lines.
Okay. Well, I am writing all this down. I'm sure this is super entertaining for our viewers, or watchers, or listeners, or anything. But yeah, man, it's so weird seeing the Commanders. I know I've never wrote it before. But.
No, somebody had a funny joke on something where they said we're not calling them the Commanders, we're calling them the C words, which I thought was funny. So you're just writing these all down?
Yep, and then I'll just put our initial, and we'll
talk
about
Washington's a 3.5 point favorite over Jacksonville.
Okay. All right, so I guess we'll start at the Eagles versus the Lions, and you'll talk about that, and then I'm going to finish writing this down, and then I'll input once I'm done. I got like 5 more matches to do. Sorry, games, not matches.
Yeah, so this is in Detroit. Detroit was the team on Hard Knocks, the HBO show. They always take a team, letting them know that, going behind the scenes during their off season, so that you know what's going on, what are the storylines, and they try to infuse some drama letting you know like who might get cut, who's working to try to get onto the team officially, onto the 53-man roster, all those things. So a lot of people, because of how they ended last year, are sort of on a Detroit hype train. And then the Eagles, because the Cowboys have suffered some terrible injuries, didn't do a lot in the offseason. The Eagles did a lot. They traded for A.J. Brown. They just traded for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They did a lot of stuff. And they got a second year in the system with their quarterback who got them to the playoffs last year, but was really, really outmanned and outgunned when they played Tampa Bay. A lot of people are on the Eagles hype train too, but instead of like the Lions, who are set to try to get more wins, like their over-under might be double the wins they got last year, the Eagles are niche Super Bowl contenders. People think that. So 4.5 points, I would take the Eagles both to win and to cover in this case. So again, by covering, I mean that I think they're going to win by more than 5 points because I think the Eagles are just head and shoulders better than the Lions. So that's my take on that.
Okay. I tend to agree with everything you just said. But so we'll both choose that.
Yep.
See.
I promise my explanations for the other games will be shorter.
Okay. The 49ers versus the Bears. So first question is, what is a 49er? Is that like a minor?
I mean, yeah, it's to represent the people who showed up in San Francisco in 1849 during the Gold Rush.
Okay. So that's a 49er, and a bear is obviously a bear. So in that case, bears can totally maul humans. So I'm going to go for the Bears to win.
Okay.
Before you tell your stat thing, that's my answer. And unless you say that like they're going to win by the 49ers are going to win by like 50 points, I'm keeping that.
Okay. The Niners are 6.5 point favorites, which means they're basically a touchdown favorite. Chicago was really bad last year, had a really bad offense. They didn't do anything to shore that up. San Francisco has a new quarterback, Trey Lance, who they drafted in the first round last year, but they had Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo almost got them to the Super Bowl, if not for like a dropped interception and Jimmy Garoppolo's hurt shoulder. Probably would have went to the Super Bowl. 49ers might have won the Super Bowl. But they're switching gears because they spent a high pick on Trey Lance. 6.5 points. Chicago might be the worst team in the league, so I'm taking San Francisco and again to cover. So I predict that they will win by at least 7 points.
Okay. So the next is the Steelers versus the Bengals. And this is like one of your guys' big games, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a division rival. So
yeah. So I'm not going to do my stupid who can beat each other in a fight thing.
Well, no, a Bengal Tiger would beat a steel worker. So
yeah. But I'm choosing the Steelers because I like you as a person, and I hope that you're happy. And
well, no, I'm not particularly happy. My offensive line is atrocious. It might be the worst unit in all of football, and I mean that. It's a 6.5 point spread in favor of Cincinnati.
Really?
Now, what I will say is I think the Steelers will, take the points. So the point is I'm taking the Bengals to win, but I'm taking the Steelers to make it close. So I think it will be a less than 7 point margin because they play each other tough usually. I mean, last year was an anomaly. The Bengals beat the crap out of us twice, but Ben was basically a statue who they rigged to throw a ball 10 yards down the field because he couldn't do more than that. And I think even Trubisky, who's the new starter, who's much maligned because of his time in Chicago, he got a chance to go behind Josh Allen in Buffalo last year, learn a bit. He's mobile, which is something you need with our atrocious offensive line. I think the Steelers will be better than people think this year, but opening day in Cincinnati with the former AFC champions, I'm taking the Bengals to win.
Okay, well, I'm choosing the Steelers.
Okay.
Because if I'm right, then you'll be happy.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's a win-win. Either I'm right or the Steelers win, and I'm happy.
Yeah, so the Patriots versus the Dolphins, and this is the game that I couldn't care too less. Well,
because Brady's not on the Patriots anymore.
Well, one, because I just don't care. I don't like the Dolphins at all.
Okay.
And yeah, then the other one is I have no feeling for the Patriots. I mean, they don't have Cam Newton anymore, so that's always a good plus.
now, and then they don't have an offensive coordinator because he went to go coach the Raiders. So this is only a 2.5 point spread in Miami, which means people actually like the Patriots, but that's because Bill Belichick usually plays, although the Dolphins usually play the Patriots stuff. This is Tua. He's got Tyreek Hill now. He's got a bunch of new offensive weapons. New coach. Belichick usually dominates against coaches. I am going to take the Dolphins to win this game, though, in Miami, and I will take the points. So I will take them to cover, I mean. So I think they're going to win by at least 3 points. I think the Dolphins just have too much firepower. Patriots have had an awful offseason. Nothing of consequence in a positive manner has come about from their camp. So I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose the Patriots. I don't have any particular reason why. I just don't like the Dolphins.
That's fair.
So I just realized if we both choose the same thing, it's gonna look in a week that I just chose the thing, which we both chose the Eagles because it's CR. And is it weird that your initials are RC?
No, you can use BC if you want.
No, but so it's just C and then R, and they're both capitalized. And if we, so in the future, that's what this is. But the next game is the Browns versus the Panthers, and I'm choosing the Panthers.
Yeah.
I really want to see Baker Mayfield get his revenge.
Yeah, Baker. There's a lot of revenge games this week, and this is one. This is a key one. It's a 1.5 point favorite for Cleveland, weirdly enough. But that means that because usually when you're at home, you get 3 points of favor. So that actually means that they think the Panthers are about 1.5 better because it's 1.5 in their favor. So, I mean, you're going to pick the Panthers. Deshaun Watson is suspended for 11 games. So they have Jacoby Brissett in Cleveland. He can't do much. So that means it's going to be a run. It might be a very low scoring game, or because Cleveland will want to try to control the clock with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. But I like Carolina. I like Baker in that spot to get redemption. He's healthy this year. McCaffrey's back. I like DJ Moore. Their defense is really good. They're at Carolina. Do you know what the temperature is going to be like in your neck of the woods on Sunday?
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, I imagine it'll be warmer than usual, so that favors them too. I'm going to take the Panthers with the points.
Okay. All right. The Colts versus the Texans.
Ugh. It's 8.5 points. The largest spread we've seen so far.
All right. On whose behalf?
On the Colts' behalf, because the Texans are awful.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Texans had the third or fourth worst record last year.
So we both choose the Colts.
I'm choosing. Yeah, I mean, they got a new quarterback because Carson Wentz left to good. They traded him to Washington. They got Matt Ryan, who got ousted from Atlanta, but he's still someone who's very capable. He was a former MVP. They got Jonathan Taylor, the consensus #1 overall pick in fantasy. I got to keep him in one league. I'm very happy. The Colts will just dominate this game. Davis Mills on Houston. He got a year of starting. That was great. I like some of their weapons. They got a cool new running back, Damian Pierce. But no, Colts, and to cover.
Okay, Saints versus Falcons, and that's a division game. So,
yep.
I think the Saints are going to win.
Yeah. The Falcons also were pretty bad last year, and now they don't have Matt Ryan. They're going to be relying on Marcus Mariota, and then they drafted a quarterback, Desmond Ridder. Their skill position guys are pretty good, but it's the second year Arthur Smith. I don't know if he's a good enough coach. It's 5.5 points. Now, granted, the Saints are going to be relying on famous Jameis Winston. He is constantly up and down. He might have a 5,000-yard year. He might throw 40 interceptions. I have no idea. But New Orleans, the infrastructure there, they don't have Sean Payton there anymore. It's Dennis Allen. He's a really bad head coach. but just the infrastructure of the Saints, their talent, Michael Thomas coming back. I'm taking the Saints and to cover 5.5.
Okay. Ravens versus the Jets. And just purely based on the Jets or on George R. R. Martin's blog about, and he talks about how bad the Jets are, I'm just going to choose the Ravens. Also, George, release the book. I'm not picking the Jets ever unless you release the book. Actually, I may choose them because if we're going by the fact that I normally like jinx the team, they'll never win again. But I also want to win this, so I'm choosing the Ravens.
You know what would be sad is if he said, I'm not going to finish the books till the Jets win another Super Bowl, because he would definitely die before then. But it would really rally people around the Jets, I bet. This is 5.5 points in Baltimore's favor. The Jets don't have their first-round pick from last year, Zach Wilson. He's hurt for the first 4 weeks. This is also a revenge game because it's Joe Flacco, who led the Ravens to a Super Bowl 10 years ago. That's 10-year anniversary of that. But still, again, Jets are on the come up. They're young. They're hungry. They got a lot of talent. They had 3 first-round picks this year, and they seemingly hit on all of them. But the Ravens have Lamar in a prove-it year. Lamar Jackson and their quarterback didn't get a contract. They just, again, infrastructure, talent. I'll take the Ravens to cover at 5.5.
All right. Jaguars versus the Commanders.
Wow, what a game. 3.5 points. They basically say it's a pick 'em between them. Because, again, if you're at home, you usually get 3 points. It's 3.5. Yeah, so no. I will take, interestingly enough, I am going to take Jacksonville. Jacksonville is supposed to be better. Stupid Urban Meyer, who is a terrible, terrible coach, forced the Jaguars to have a very, very, very shitty record, be the worst team in the league. I think they will be much, much better. Don't trust Washington. Don't trust Carson Wentz. I'm going to take the Jaguars with the points at 3.5 to win and, to obviously get the points. So that means that I would take them against the spread as well.
Okay. I'm also going to choose the Jaguars.
Interesting. Any particular reason?
Yeah. Not a good reason. Just I don't like Washington.
That's fair. A lot of people don't. They're run by a horrific owner who lets terrible, terrible things happen to their employees. So,
yeah. All right. The Packers versus the Vikings.
Yeah, another divisional game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a Viking can kill a Packer.
You would think.
Yeah, you would think. But is Aaron Rodgers still playing?
He is.
Okay.
He is, but he lost his number one target. Devontae Adams went to Las Vegas.
Yeah, I was like, you can never really bet against him, so I'm going with that.
So you're taking the Packers?
Yes.
Okay. So Aaron Rodgers, he came into camp this year looking like Nick Cage and Con Air, trolling people again because people don't believe in him, especially because he lost Devontae Adams, as I mentioned. But I think that they're still a really, really good defense. They're going to turn into a basically more of a running team with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. But the Vikings have a new coach because their coach, a lot of people said, was basically just asleep at the wheel last year. They're going to air it out. Kirk Cousins, they have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook. Offense is great. Defense has playmakers on it still. It's 2.5 points to the Packers. I'm going to take the Vikings and getting the points at 2.5 to win.
All right, the Giants versus the Titans.
Ugh. What a nothing game. 6.5 in favor of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how he did that, but that's pretty funny.
Whoa.
Oh.
Scary. I was terrified that happened.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hello. How's it going? Good evening.
Going all right. I'm hosting something a little later, and I told Aaron I would come and scare the shit out of y'all. So.
Oh, you did? You really
Lovely.
did.
Yeah, luckily enough, I saw you pop up on this. I saw you pop down there. I was like, I thought you were Aaron. So I was like, because I was like, only like 3 people have access to this the password to this thing, and I was like, "Oh, I was about."
Oh, I know what you're hosting.
Yes.
Okay,
It'll be
yeah,
fun.
I get it. That makes sense. Makes all the sense in the world.
Anyway, wanted to do that. Gonna head back out because I gotta go get ready for that. But
Okay,
All
thanks,
right,
buddy.
Yeah.
It was good to see you.
peace.
we'll
Peace.
try and have you on the show in about a month. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. Though. Wow.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, it was a fun little pop-up, little cameo, if you will.
Yeah.
So where were we? Tennessee and Giants, right?
Yep.
Did you want me to talk about it first?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and we both are choosing the Titans, but I want to.
Yeah, it's 6.5. I'll take the Titans to cover and to win because the Giants are bad. They have a new coach too, new lease on life. A lot of people are picking them as a trendy, like make the playoffs pick, because every time in the playoffs, there are teams that get in who people don't expect and teams that make their way out that people thought were locks. But I'm not in there with the Giants yet. I need to see stuff before I'm willing to say that. Titans still have Ryan Tannehill. Titans still have Derrick Henry coming off an injury. Titans still have Mike Vrabel pulling the strings. Still have a really, really good defense. They're going to be competing in this division against Indianapolis and with Jacksonville a little bit. So I will take the Titans to win by at least 7.
All right. Raiders versus the Chargers.
Oh, this is a great game. Teams that they're looking up at Kansas City, but they have, I don't want to say delusions of grandeur, but they have motivation. They have feelings that they can overcome and take this division, both of them. It's 3.5 points to the Chargers, which again basically makes it essentially a pick 'em. I weirdly, because it's so hard to choose divisional games, especially in week 1, I'm weirdly going to choose the Raiders with the points. And I'm going to do that because I like all the offseason acquisitions they made. McDaniels should be able to get a lot out of Derek Carr. A lot of people are on the Chargers hype train. They're a very sexy Super Bowl pick. It's in Los Angeles, but their home field advantage doesn't mean much because people don't go to Chargers games. I like the Derek Carr Devontae Adams connection. They both went to college together. I don't know if you knew that. They went to Fresno State. So they're coming back and they're rekindling their friendship, their professional relationship. So I'm going to take the Raiders with the points. Weirdly.
Okay. So since I'm glad you did that because you did what I thought we were going to do is you chose the Raiders and your first name starts with an R. So that means I have to choose the Chargers because my first name starts with a C.
Yes.
So that's what we're doing.
I wouldn't be surprised if your pick wins and big, but something about the Raiders this year. I kind of like them. So
by that logic, I can't fail at this next pick. Chiefs versus the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I'm just choosing the Chiefs because some of my family's from Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm going for. But again, I can't really choose wrong because it's C versus C. So
it's a 2.5 point favorite spread to Kansas City. It's in Arizona, which means they think Kansas City's almost like 5 point favorites, 5.5 point favorites. Arizona, they gave Kyler Murray a huge contract, their quarterback, but they sort of dogged him a little bit through the offseason. His main weapon, DeAndre Hopkins, is suspended for 6 games. There's a lot of other one of their rookies last year who was a big talent for them. He's out of this game. Their tight ends hurt. A lot of people hurt. So Kyler doesn't have a lot of people to throw to. Kansas City, they lost Tyreek Hill. He went to Miami. So they have a new lease on life for how their offense is going to run. But I think they'll figure it out. It's Andy Reid. It's Patrick Mahomes. I chose Patrick Mahomes first in a super flex league because in those kinds of leagues, quarterbacks do matter. So I'm picking the Chiefs to cover at 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves 2 more games.
Yep, the Buccaneers versus the Cowboys.
Sunday night football, baby.
Where I break my rule because I'm not choosing the Cowboys.
Yeah, of course you're choosing the Bucs.
Yeah. So pretty much I will choose anyone who's not playing the Cowboys all season.
Okay.
Just because my dad's a Cowboys fan. and I think that's funny.
Gotcha.
But
They're in a little bit of trouble, like I was talking about when we talked at the beginning about Philly. A lot of people are picking Philly to win that division because the Cowboys are reeling a little bit. It's 2.5-point favorite to Tampa. So what we're saying here is that Tampa's like 5-point favorites again. So I'm picking Tampa as well. There's a lot of weird stuff. Tom Brady left for a week. He and his wife aren't living in the same house anymore. People thought maybe he got plastic surgery. I made a joke last night that maybe he is going through an early bout of senility. Maybe the diet he's on, the TB12, doesn't help him with regards to his brain function later in life. I'm kidding, of course, but I like to make jokes at his expense because I can. Even despite all that, don't trust the Cowboys. A lot of weird stuff going on. They have a lot of injuries too. So I'm taking Tampa to cover a 2.5.
Okay, and then the last game, the Broncos versus the Seahawks.
Monday Night Football. This is the main revenge game because Russell Wilson got traded to Denver. He is coming back in week 1 to Seattle, to a very, very, very horrific Seattle team. Denver are 4.5-point favorites in this game.
Okay, I'm choosing the Broncos.
Yep.
Before I even knew any of that, I was about to talk about Russell Wilson playing for the Seahawks, and you just
Oh no, he got traded and got a huge contract and is playing for Denver now.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So we'll still go with the Broncos.
You should, because Seattle is having Geno Smith go out there. They had a horrific quarterback room between competition between him and Drew Lock. Drew Lock, who got traded in the Russell Wilson trade to come back to Seattle. They don't have much going on there. They want to tank basically to get better draft picks to rebuild on the cheap. So I'm taking Denver at a huge, yes, they're going to cover because they're probably going to beat the crap out of Seattle by at least 17.
All right. So out of these 15 games that we did predictions for, 5 of them we differed on.
Okay.
So that will be all the deciding factors: the 49ers versus the Bears,
Yep.
the Steelers versus the Bengals,
Yep.
the Patriots versus the Dolphins,
Yep.
Packers versus the Vikings, and
Yep.
then the last game that will decide it will be the Raiders versus the Chargers.
Yep. That sounds about right.
And then what we'll do is at the end of week 1, whoever has the most right, they win that week.
Okay.
Champion of that week. And then at the end of the 16, 17, 18, 19, however many weeks it is, I don't freaking know.
18 regular season weeks.
And then 4 postseason?
Yeah, and then 4.
Okay. So we'll
technically
do
5 because there's a 2-week gap between the championship games and the Super Bowl, but yeah.
Because that's the Pro Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not watching that crap.
I never have watched it.
Yeah. So we'll see this, and I got plenty of paper here to look back on by the end of the season. We'll see, be like, where did I lose it?
Where'd you go? Where'd you go so very wrong?
Yes. But yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if you beat me in these picks because NFL football is so volatile. Which is why when I do my pick'ems, I'm like in the 90th percentile for a lot of these, and that's great. But that's still like dozens of picks behind who's the leader.
But yep. All right. So She-Hulk, House of the Dragon, Rings of Power. Which one you want to talk about first?
Let's switch it up. Let's do House of the Dragon first.
All right. Spoiler alerts, everybody.
Spoilers. And if you were looking at my thing, that was a spoiler the whole time. But that's fine.
Yes, it was.
I didn't give a crap, so that's why I did it.
I will say this was the best episode they've had. I thought.
I think it is, but it's weird to talk about that in context in 3 episodes. So I'm not sure. Because I was most excited at episode 1 because we had just watched Game of Thrones, but I can understand the 3-year gap of people watching it live and then coming back to something. I was still uber excited in first episode, so
yeah.
It's hard to quantify.
Yeah, like Damon doing his entire thing against the crab people is pretty good.
Yeah, it's just great because it's a 3-year time jump, right? So we saw that they were going to start the campaign then, but we don't actually know when it started. Technically, we think it's been the 3 years they've been fighting ever since, but we don't actually know officially. But
Yeah,
it's going bad because, as you see at the beginning of the episode, the Damon and Corliss and the combined forces of him with the Valerian Armada. It's great to have air superiority, but if people can just hide in caves, then it doesn't really work. And then so they're losing this fight, which is hilarious because they have way, way, way more resources than these people.
I
But
know it's like a 3-year long war.
yeah, at least 2. It's definitely been a long time, right?
Yeah.
And then Damon gets the notice that his Viserys is finally going to lend some support, and he's like, "Fuck that! I'm doing this by myself," because he's so petty, which is great. I love doing this because you're petty. It's wonderful. And then the only problem, and then the fight sequence at the end is wonderful. The only problem being you can't believe that all these archers didn't kill him. It's the only thing. But they hit him a couple times, and that's fine. But he should have had 20 arrows in him, and he had 3. But other than that, it's all cool. And we don't get to see him kill the crab feeder, which is annoying.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree. And then they have all the stuff with like Rhaenyra believing, oh, she's not going to be the heir now, and like I really hate that we're in 2 or 3 episodes we're going to get the adult versions.
No, we got one more.
I know. I think
it's half.
The last one, right?
I would bet half is young and half is older. So I would bet we have 2, but we definitely at least have one more.
Because I'm really warming up to young Rhaenyra.
Mally Alcock is really, really good.
Yeah, like, and I understand why they're doing it because like they want to age them both up, even though like it's so weird. Like I forgot about this from the book is that Alicent is in her 20s while Rhaenyra is like a 6-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
So they aged Alicent down and aged Rhaenyra up. So
there would be tension, so they'd have a connection. Because I believe in the book they have no connection.
They have no connection at all.
Yeah.
So like I'm really curious as to like where like he was Viserys was like, yeah, you get to choose your own husband. And like the fact that the Lannisters, even in this thing, are huge douchebags. And even though like at this point, they haven't even like dug up most of their gold. Like it's Tywin that finds the biggest mine that they have. So they're douchebags for no real reason.
They're putting on heirs then.
Yeah. Like
by the way, Jason Lannister, what a name.
Yeah. And then him and his twin, which by the way, I feel sorry. I don't know which one's the Lord of Casterly Rock, but I feel sorry for the other one.
I would imagine Jason is.
Yeah, like I feel sorry for his twin brother because that means he only missed it by like this much.
He did. Yeah. I mean, Thailand is in the King's Council, right?
Yeah.
That's his deal. Yeah, Jason Lannister, hilarious. And I looked at that guy who played him. I was like, I know this guy from somewhere, and I know him because he plays the podcasting guy in the Halloween reboot. So Michael kills him in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, in 2018.
2018s, yeah, that's him. I was like, this dude looks so familiar, and then I read it. I was like, oh yeah, it's just he has more facial hair or whatever, and his hair is longer, but same guy.
Yep. But yeah, like I like the episode. I do like at the end where they go to find the white stag.
Yeah.
They don't even find the white stag. They just find a regular stag and then Viserys stabs it.
Yeah, but he can't kill it on the first try even with all the help.
Yeah, and Rhaenyra sees it and she's like, "Nah, let it go." And like that's one of those things where like I really hope that there looks like there's a connection between her and Sir Kristen,
Yeah.
but he can't be the one that she chooses to marry.
Well, I mean, she could, but it would, it's probably going to cause problems.
Well, because until Jamie, no one had, or no, until Barris and Selmy, no one had ever been kicked off the Kingsguard before.
Yeah.
And if you're a Kingsguard, you're not supposed to marry or have kids.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be one of those unspoken things. I don't think she'll actually choose them.
Yeah, so I'm really curious who she's going to choose. Like, is she going to go with her father's plan and try and marry the Lehron guy's son, or
Oh, you mean like what's the dude's name? Strong? Is that his name? The guy who counseled him to marry Lena and then suggested that she marry the what's the kid? What's the Valeron kid?
Lenor,
Yeah.
which
Lena and Lenor?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's very unoriginal.
At least it's easy to remember. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, that makes the most sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because Viserys has to make up for all his terrible politicking, which is a fun line when he's like, I come here to hunt, not for all this incessant fucking politicking," or whatever he says, which is great. It's a great line.
But yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It's definitely better, which I can say for pretty much all the shows that we were watching this week.
Yeah, everything's ramping up a bit. I like this one. There's a lot of good Viserys stuff. Him getting drunk, admitting in front of the fire that he wasn't a dragon rider, but he was a dreamer. And I was listening to a podcast. They were like, apparently when you're a Targaryen, you're like one of the two. That's sort of your bearing on how close you are to being a true Targaryen, which is interesting. Well, I guess Rhaenyra is the dragon rider version, but they're trying to pull her off of that, even though that's what she is. And then three main characters, right? Viserys, Rhaenyra, and Daemon. Two of those characters got bathed in blood and sort of reborn. Maybe Rhaenyra is sort of that blood sort of indicated and highlighted what she already was, which is why the white heart comes to her. It's a sign of that she might be the most regal of everyone and thus should be the leader and should keep her heir status, which Viserys sort of hit home with her when they had their little father-daughter chat. And then Daemon goes through that whole ordeal, take out the crab feeder, and he's just soaked in blood at the end of the episode.
Yeah, and then did you watch the preview for next week?
I did. To me, it looks like he's kind of like a born-again Christian or something. He is like, it seems like he has a weird new lease on life, which is fun.
Well, yeah, and he's king of the narrow sea, which I don't. Is cool, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
but normally I don't watch the next time on whatever.
Yeah.
And I was not paying attention, and I saw that, and I was like, well, now I can't stop it. So I just watched all of it. But
I watched that, and I watched the after the episode, and I like these ones as opposed to the ones in regular Game of Thrones, because the regular Game of Thrones, it was only Benioff and Weiss, and in this one, they actually have the actors too.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And plus, I don't find the guys who show run this as annoying as Benioff and Weiss. So
yes,
that's fun.
I agree. But
there's a lot of cool stuff there. There's a controversy in this episode. I don't know if you read about it.
I don't think I did.
So remember in season 8 of Game of Thrones, the Starbucks cup controversy?
Oh yeah, and then there's a water bottle in the Great Council scene.
Yeah, I was pissed because we were watching it and we were looking for the Starbucks cup, but they wiped it out, and I wanted to see it. I was bummed, but it wasn't there. So this one, Viserys, 3 years later, is missing fingers on one of his hands. We saw the maggots eating away the flesh, and he's rotting away from the inside, and I guess some of his fingers rotted away. Apparently, if you watch that closely, you could see some of the green tape that they put around his fingers that they were going to CG out. They didn't CG out the green part of it, so you could see that in the episode. I wanted to go back and see if I could notice it because I didn't even notice he was missing fingers till I was listening to recaps of it. But
I also did not realize that he was missing fingers, so I definitely would not have noticed that he had green on it.
yeah, so that's the controversy. But they're working on airbrushing that out or whatever the hell. So,
But
yeah, this is probably the best episode of the 3, and it's ramping up. The question will be, will these time jumps get more pronounced, and will people be on board us going through like 30 years in the course of a season or more?
and well, I don't think it will be. I do think the end of this will be them as adults, like proper adults.
I think there's a 10 or 15 year jump that's still coming.
Oh dear Lord. Okay. So you ready to talk She-Hulk?
Yeah, let's talk She-Hulk. Episode 4.
Episode 4. So we're almost halfway done with the show.
Yeah, isn't this real magic or whatever it is?
Yeah. So there's some really weird stuff. Like, I don't know if you ever used Tinder when you dated.
Yeah, I use Tinder.
Okay, I also use Tinder. So I always felt like really awkward using Tinder because it is like it's kind of weird.
I mean, most people would say that Tinder was just a hookup app, and I would say that that's mostly true. But I was also trying not to use it simply as that.
Yeah, same. That I was trying to like find someone to actually like enjoy talking to.
Date.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. It's like the more you swipe right, even if you don't like the person, the more you swipe right, you'll get there eventually. And like
the numbers game. Her assistant is correct. It is a numbers game. That's what it's about. That's why these things exist.
Yeah, and then of course, like there's an entire thing of like they don't like her as her, and then whenever she goes out with the dude as She-Hulk, and the next morning he also doesn't like her as her.
Dude,
that was so messed up.
So sad. Like you could see it in her face, like just this awkwardness that she has as Jen.
Yeah,
and then it just gets reinforced because this person who she just spent the night with and hooked up with as her alter ego, he's like, I'm not interested. It's not like Tatiana Maslany's like a hideous looking person. She's a nice looking person. It's just for some reason they just look at her and they're like, nah, not cool. And I get it because when you look at She-Hulk, she's glammed up. She's her glam version. Jen is like the more traditional version, and you understand this, but it's still I mean, she even says it in the episode, all the matches she gets when she goes into She-Hulk, and she's like, this is just a hit to Jen's ego, this is just a bad thing for Jen. And it's true, and that's a real bummer in the episode. Of everything that's happened so far, that's the most bummerish thing, which is crazy that it's just about her finding a date.
Yeah, and then of course, I don't think we talked last week about the twerking fiasco. Maybe we did.
We talked about it a little bit.
So last week that happened, and I saw someone post. They were like, "I'm not even mad that she twerked, but I'm mad that the fact that she like didn't destroy stuff in her office because of the vibrations." And I was like, "That's too much for a kids show or a potential kids show." Like, yeah, I don't. No, because my kids they caught up on all the Marvel movies and TV shows, so they watched the first 3 episodes of She-Hulk, and they apparently didn't even know that there were end credit scenes, and I was like, good. But yeah, like I will say, I followed a person on Twitter who they posted a picture of freaking oh my Lord, what's his name? The guy who plays Danny Rand in
Finn Jones.
And it looked, they put it on the set of She-Hulk. So whenever I saw the title, it's like, this isn't real or is this real magic?
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, is this how they redeem?
Oh my God, you thought this was an Iron Fist thing.
Oh, I so did.
I don't think that's happening.
Oh, I immediately unfollowed that person and was just like, you're a jerk, dude.
Yeah. There's a lot of jerky people out there, mostly for the sake of hating on content because of its inclusivity. But that putting out fake, like false flags on things, it's pretty bad.
Because I've said for a long time that I thought like he would get his way back into being Iron Fist. I think, like, I now know since he's not doing anything, I don't think it will happen. Like, he probably got cast as Iron Fist because he was in Game of Thrones.
Yep.
But now that he's not doing anything, there's no reason to bring him back.
No, he had a heater, and the heater died.
Yeah, and like
Iron Fist killed it.
Honestly, I don't think there's like. I think only Charlie Cox can really return from that group.
I disagree. I think everybody but Iron Fist can return.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, even the people in Iron Fist. Like, I think Jessica Henwick could definitely be Connie Wing again if she wanted to. She's on a heater, too. I just watched the trailer for Knives Out, the sequel, and Jessica Henwick's in that. And she was in the Matrix movie. She was in a couple other things, too. So I think everybody but Finn Jones, honestly, could come back if they wanted to.
Yeah.
They can't put it. They want to make the castings more akin to what the characters are supposed to be, right? They can't do Finn Jones again.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's always been weird because, like, I know a lot of people expected that he would be an Asian act, but the character of Iron Fist is not Asian.
Yeah, but it lives in that realm, though.
Yeah, like, it is very much that way.
Yeah.
But I guess, I don't know. But yeah, that really bugged me, and I really do think we're going to end up doing this. Next week's going to be her trial because apparently...
what a great way to bring Titania back, right?
Yeah, like they talk about it at the beginning of the episode, and then they're just like, hey, she's suing you.
Yeah, for the process server guy was hilarious. It's like, hey, did you order this? It's like, I know a process server when I see one. And there's like, they're suing me for trademark, but I am She-Hulk. It's like, well, unless she trademarked it first. Like, oh, is that your opinion, Your Honor? Shuts the door to say. The jokes here have gotten better, for sure. And yeah, I think most people, because the critics have only seen up to this point, I think the next episode is when we get Daredevil.
Yeah,
and it makes a lot of sense.
I do like. All right, so first when we saw Madison.
Oh my gosh, Madison with two N's and a Y.
But it's not where you think.
Not where you think.
I thought, I was like, she's so obnoxious. But everyone knows, like, anyone who's ever been, like, at parties or anything, they know a Madison.
Yeah.
And the more and more she was on the show, I was like, good. And now she's hanging out with Wong. And I'm like, we're going to see her again. God.
Oh, we absolutely are. Not friend of the show, but friend from my faction, Bill Carriola. He posted just a little bit ago. Come on, do it, you cowards! And it was Madison, like the title card. Like we'll do a Madison movie or a Madison TV show in 2024 or whatever. Like, do it, you cowards! And some people commented, like, somebody said that they really hated Madison till the end. When now it seems like her and Wong as a power couple would be fantastic. Or even if they aren't like dating, just like as a friendly couple, like just hanging out, doing stuff. And her, like, the stuff with her spoiling The Sopranos, as someone who watched The Sopranos, is fucking hilarious. Like,
I know. I've seen people that are pissed off, and I'm like, this show's 15 years old.
Yeah, you gotta get over that.
Yeah, like, I'm like, the show ended in what, 2008?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, you're complaining about something like that'd be like if you if
someone. And those episodes are in season 5, which is like 06. So it's
I was like that's like if someone told you that I don't want to accidentally spoil stuff for people, but there's some spoiler in TV that happened a long time ago. But
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, if you didn't, I mean, like, if somebody spoiled the Sopranos ending, just keeping it in the realm, like, you'd be like, what? That's how they ended it? Like, yeah. But it's been 15 years and it was a cultural phenomenon how that happened. And Sopranos was a cultural phenomenon. If you didn't watch it already, you weren't going to watch it.
yeah.
It was on HBO Go and then HBO Max. Come on, guys. It's ridiculous.
But yeah,
and I love Donnie Blaze.
Yeah,
it's just, we're so close to Johnny Blaze. Just freaking hilarious.
Like, I wonder if there is a ghostwriter out there and he is just adopted. Like, he is so unoriginal that he's like, my name's Donald. I'll go by Donnie Blaze.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll happen. Who knows?
Also, like, she's talking about how, like, she got sent to a devil realm and then she made a deal with the devil. And people are immediately like, it's Mephisto! And I was like, we have been a year without having to deal with Mephisto.
I like the rendering at the end where it's her in that realm with a goat.
Yeah.
That has a name tag that says Jake on it, making a deal. I love the cartoon renderings at the end. I think they're wonderful. No, I really like this episode. I thought her CG, especially in the action scene when she's fighting the demons with Wong, and I thought Wong's power. You always looked at it like when Wong would fight with Doctor Strange, you'd be like, oh, of course Doctor Strange is going to be the Sorcerer Supreme. He knows way more things. Wong basically just does portals and uses like the weapons that he uses on his hands. But this one, he did like the cool thing, making the portal into a whip and then making it into like a tornado.
Yeah, I was like, he turned it kind of into a vacuum.
Yeah, it was freak. And but I was expecting She-Hulk to be like, why didn't you just do that in the first place?
Or for her to turn to the camera and be like, I don't know why he didn't do that in the first place.
Exactly. I thought that would happen, but I guess that was too obvious. But either way, I really enjoyed the action set piece in this, and she looks good in certain lighting. Like, her CG actually looks really good, which is fine, which is wonderful. I think it's funnier in this episode. The Twitter armor, having Wong back in it, was great. I love the Madison and him conversation where she's just going through all the alcohol he's ever drunk in his life. I was like, I don't know if we could find bottomless gin tonics, but we're going to find it. And her calling them Wongers, which is just wonderful. I really dug this episode. I like the guy who plays Donnie Blaze. He was in Entourage. I like his character there. I like to see him here. I like the jokes about like, oh my God, even the lawyer's a magician. Like, the legal stuff there was great. I actually really enjoyed this episode. I was very happy.
Yeah. And then before we go to Rings of Power, I want to talk about some stuff that came out for D23.
Oh, yeah? I see something about a Little Mermaid teaser.
So, Ezra, which they announced today.
Oh, the Ezra Bridger casting news.
I'm really happy. The guy who played Aladdin, he came out today and finally was like, I'm so glad they've revealed this because I haven't been able to talk about the fact that I'm not him. And even though I went to one audition and they immediately have you sign an NDA saying you can't tell them if you got the part or not. So he's like, finally they've revealed that I'm not this. And he's like, so many people have wanted me to be this for over a year, and I've just been feeling like I can't not tell. He's apparently felt really bad about it.
I like that dude as Aladdin, by the way. Inside Out getting a sequel?
But yeah, apparently from what I've heard is the Mandalorian stuff, the Mandoverse that they're doing, it's going to culminate in a movie.
Oh, nice. Cool. Directed by Jon Favreau or some shit?
I would assume so.
Or Dave Filoni? How about Black Panther, Captain America teaming up from a new game from the former Uncharted director?
Yeah.
Be all for that. Marvel getting an AR game from the makers of Pokemon Go.
Yeah, like I am very interested. Like I really like the Ezra casting. The fact that he's going to be in Ahsoka, great. I really wonder why they haven't revealed who's going to be Thrawn.
That's probably coming that's probably the big thing, like at the end of the weekend, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting them to announce that at Celebration because they didn't really have that many big announcements at Celebration. But I just assumed that they already have been like, well, it's obvious that it's going to be Lars Mikkelsen, uh, which is the guy who voices him.
Yeah.
But I would love for it to be like Jason Isaacs or
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Saw that one a bunch as fan casting goes.
Yeah, like Henry Cavill would be good.
He got cast in something, right? Loki season 2. I saw that.
I had read that was a rumor that he was going to be in Loki season 2.
Oh, not substantiated.
But I'm not sure. That he has shown up at Marvel.
Yes.
So they assume that it's going to be Loki season 2, but I could totally see him being Sentry, and that being Marvel's way of being like, "Aha, we can do Superman better than DC can."
He should have just been Adam Warlock. Then.
Yeah, like
they didn't have to make Will Poulter buff up. Could have just been like Henry Cavill. Why don't you be fucking Adam Warlock and be Guardians 3?
But yeah, so now Rings of Power.
Oh, before we get to Rings of Power, what's your general consensus on She-Hulk? You didn't say.
Oh yeah, I love the show. Like, I do think like the first few episodes, I thought, hey, they could be longer, but now they really go into that entire. They lead you off into somewhere else, where you're going to lead into the next episode, and I like that. But they're the perfect like sitcom length. So,
well, this one was a little bit longer than the last 2 episodes, so that was helpful. It was hardier, which was good. I think 30 minutes is very, like a 35 minute runtime is really good for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure who this is, but they said She-Hulk is a meme, and I'll.
Well, yeah.
Hey, thanks for commenting on the video. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you want to explain yourself, you can.
Basically, everything is a meme.
I mean, I agree, but
I think we're memes.
Thank you.
No, I meant like, I don't think we're real humans.
Oh.
I think we're all just crafted like memes, like cut together all of our different meme poses, so that we can appear as if we're living, but we're not. Man,
we just really went existential there.
I know.
And I don't know if I like it.
Okay, well, I did it. You don't have to subscribe to it. I'm just saying that's how I feel about
it. Whoa.
I think memes actually broke the fourth wall or whatever, the interdimensional wall, so that we can see through this now. Technology has increased so that we can understand where we sort of sit on plane of existence.
Okay. Rings of Power.
Yes, Rings of Power.
So I told you last week that I was not sure if I liked the show. I told Anthony, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna watch." He said he wasn't gonna watch House of the Dragon either because he was like, "I'm just not gonna watch stuff that I know I'm not gonna enjoy."
Yes.
And he said he has very little time for TV. He said he would come on and talk She-Hulk though, so that's good.
What? He didn't mention this to me. I feel slighted a little bit.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he said that like he would totally come on, and because I asked him, he was like, "Yeah, I just give you a heads up. I'm not going to watch Rings of Power, and I'm not going to watch House of the Dragon. So
okay.
If we want to talk about that, I won't be able to participate."
Well, like, we should throw some things up and see if we can guess what the episode was about.
Yeah.
That should be what the devices we use.
Honestly, I told him, I was like, I don't know if I want to watch. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that we're talking about it, But I told you, I think episode 3 was going to turn it around for me.
Mhm.
This was the best episode of television that I've watched in a long time.
Wow. Okay.
So, it was
I
almost,
definitely think it was the best of these 3 episodes. I will say that.
yeah,
I wouldn't go that far.
yeah. I think it blows House of the Dragon out of the water.
I wouldn't go that far either, but okay.
But I do like there are things I don't care at all about the Harfoot storyline.
No, they're pointless. They were there, I think, to be the baby Groots. Not gonna sell toys or whatever, but to bring more people in to be like, look at the cute halflings.
Yeah.
I know this from the previous
Well,
movie.
and hey, they've got, because more and more I think that he's a blue wizard. And I hope he's a blue wizard.
I think he's definitely a wizard for sure.
I do not want him to be Gandalf.
Some people said Saruman.
Well, because I don't want him to be Saruman either, because we know that, like, in the lore, he doesn't. Him and Gandalf and Radagast all show up at the same time. But
Yeah, well, this is playing fast and loose.
yeah. But so
That's why that's what the Tolkien estate hates it, right? Although the Tolkien estate hated the Peter Jackson movies too. So
that's true, and those are the greatest movies of all time. So,
again, I don't think I can go that far, but they're up there.
but yeah, like, so I hope it's not.
Okay.
But I do like that he found his like constellation thing. Like I think he's either a blue wizard or he's gonna, like, I hope he's not Sauron now.
I don't think he's Sauron.
In the first 2 episodes, I thought he was, because like they talked about how whenever they went to that evil castle in the north, that there would be no heat. So whenever she goes to comfort him and she's like, the fire's not hot, I was like, that's going to be Sauron, because he's so evil that the heat's not hot.
Yeah, he he bends physics.
Yeah,
to his will. Yeah,
but I get more and more like thinking that either like I had read a thing that I don't remember what magazine it said, was that Galadriel and Halbrand were going to have like a romantic thing.
that's weird.
And
I mean, it certainly you could make the connect. You could go the extra mile and see.
In the second episode last week, I could have seen that, but in this one, it definitely seems like they're more like colleagues.
Oh, you think she's like more connected to Elendil?
Yeah, and like we know where both of their stories end up. Like he gets
when they said that was the name, I was like, "Yep," and his son. Here he comes. Here he comes.
Yep.
It's kind of like a Sinbad.
Yeah, and it's kind of like how, like, the first time you see Isildur, you hear someone go, Isildur! And it's very reminiscent of Hugo Weaving yelling at him when he's leaving the cave.
Yeah.
Be like, Isildur! I'm like, oh, man, we already know where this guy's story goes, and it's not good.
No. I didn't know about, like, the other siblings. I didn't... I liked being on Numenor. I thought that was cool. Are we supposed to believe, and forgive me for not knowing the extra Tolkien lore, are we to believe that the Queen Regent gave him Narsil?
Okay, so I've seen people say that, but Narsil's supposed to be a family heirloom.
Okay.
Well, I think whenever he decides to either help Galadriel, my prediction is he'll help Galadriel escape. Is that he'll?
I mean, that seems. I mean, he basically did help her escape.
Yeah, like, but he has to help her escape to Middle Earth, because his people have to get to Middle Earth before, because they are there.
Because they're there, yeah. They're not.
He creates the kingdom of Gondor and Arnor.
Yeah.
So he's got to get to Middle Earth somehow. So I totally either like he takes her there and comes back as repentance, and she takes the sword, and then he's like, well, I got to use Narsil now. But I could totally see like someone being like, hey, yeah, she's the one that gave him back his family blade as like a, hey, you earned this or whatever.
Mm.
That was Narsil. But
wow. And I mean, couldn't you have called that Halbrand?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what.
Was the second king of the South regions?
Yeah, I wonder. Like, I have two theories that either he'll be good and take up being king of the Southerners,
Yeah.
and then he will become the Witch King of Agmar,
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are predicting is that
or that he's Sauron because of the way he wanted to go to the Forge, and he was Sauron was a forger for Aule, who is the Valar of the Forge.
okay.
So he would know, he'd be like, "Ooh, I could forge there," and then this could be like painting his, be like, "Oh, they're good forgers. They might be able to help me figure out the rings." And whenever, but yeah, like how he's like charismatic and like he's kind of like manipulative.
Yeah.
So I could totally see him being Sauron. But then we kind of see at the end of the episode, we see, I'm trying to remember what his name is, that they're like, get it's the title of the episode. I'll have to
Yeah, I'm confused by what you're saying.
you know, at the end of the episode you see
Oh, Adar?
yeah, Adar.
Yeah.
I wonder if that is Sauron.
Seems likely given how they obfuscated him before we got to see his face.
So, like, my theory is that that is the Witch King, and Sauron is Halbrand, or Halbrand is the Witch King, and that is actually Sauron.
I think I like the latter more, and I think because people were speculating about the stranger being the Balrog, right?
Yeah, I
But
can
I
also
think-
see that.
What didn't this episode didn't it sort of debunk that a little bit? Because of what are the orcs digging for?
I think they're just digging because they can't be in sunlight. Which that's the one thing, like the
I
Peter
thought they said
Jackson
they're
films
digging for
never-
something. Isn't that what the elf said?
Yeah, but he thinks that it is, but I think they're just trying to build like a tunnel through their lands. Because right now where they're at is Mordor, but in modern day.
Yeah.
Whereas they're gonna try and make it evil, and I think eventually they'll dig into the mountain, and then it will erupt all the crap,
Mm,
and then that's when Sauron will be like, "Ooh, I can forge the ring here."
okay. All
Because
right.
obviously this land it's Mordor, but it's nice, and I think they also could be digging for that sword that the girl's son was looking
Oh.
at.
Okay. Yeah.
So they might be trying to find that, but that's my
Morgul blade.
yeah. I assume it's a Morgul blade.
I mean, it like disappears and talks, so I assume it's a Morgul blade. You know what I mean? It's like real mystify-y. So I figured that's what it is. Yeah, I'm glad we got none of them. Is that why it was the best episode? Because we didn't give a shit? Because Bronwyn and her stupid kid Theo and them were out of it.
Yeah, I do like the fact that, like, man, their mission almost succeeded. Like, the elf gets out and he's gonna run away, and then they shoot him with a bunch of arrows.
I got a big like 1917 Wonder Woman vibe from this because they're in a big trench, right? They're like, we gotta get over the trench. And we gotta get outside. We gotta run off. I'm like, ugh, that never worked well in the theater of war in modern times. So
Yeah,
I guess that's the point, right? That's probably what Tolkien used as inspiration when he wrote that, even though it's not a product of the writing necessarily.
Yeah, like I am very I was very apprehensive to the first two episodes.
Yeah, they were boring.
Really, like, it might just be that all the Numenorian stuff is really, really good.
That stuff's really cool.
Even
like
the
trying to
stuff with Rondir is really good, even though he's not like a book character. I like the idea that some elves are figuring out what's going on.
This redeemed him. I didn't like him in the first two. I like this, like him being captured, them doing like a Dirty Dozen, like a Great Escape deal, and them being like ground soldiers, without fancy pants armor and shit. I like that. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, I thought this was gonna be boring. So I was like, well, there's no action set pieces in this, right? There were at the end, but yeah, the lore and trying to figure out why there's such this gulf of acceptance between the Numenorians and the elves is very intriguing, and
like
all that stuff.
all this stuff, it makes me feel bad for Elrond because
Oh yeah, there was no Elrond in this episode. That was weird.
yeah, because I guess he's still chilling out in Khazad-dûm doing.
He is. I think they're gonna beat because I saw like a trailer, not like the episode 4 trailer, but like another trailer somewhere where it's just like I guess Elrond hangs out with Prince Doran for quite a bit of time.
Yeah, like I still do not like that his dad is named Durin, and
Wow.
he is also Durin because.
Yeah. It's my Larry, my brother Daryl, and my other brother Daryl.
Well, because like in dwarf culture, they believe in reincarnation, so they only ever name someone Durin whenever the person becomes king and then looks like the previous Durin and embodies his. Then you are appointed as whatever your name was before. You're like you are now Durin the Fourth.
So he's like the Dalai Lama?
Yeah, kind of.
Interesting.
That's what the dwarves believe anyway.
Weird. Did they do one of those Dalai Lama tests where they have to pick the item that was owned by the previous Doran?
Well, it's just like because they have paintings of what the previous Durin. So once he's an adult, they're like, oh, "You look so much like him." Hey, and you
Oh
act
my
like
god, that's
him.
all it
Right.
takes? Interesting.
Yeah. So, like for an example, if Gimli became Durin the Seventh,
Yeah.
he would have been Gimli his entire life, and then was like, "Hey, you are now Durin the Seventh," and would have just went for that. It's like how to start it back off at Queen Elizabeth II. Her dad's name was not actually George; it was
Yeah.
something else, and then he took on the name George the Sixth.
Yeah.
And which I think that's so weird to take
And
on.
he got Jeffrey Rush to teach him how to speak properly.
Yes. But yeah, like I think it's really interesting, like where the show is going. Like I love all the Numenorian stuff. Like I like I said, like I feel sorry for Elrond because his dad became a star. His brother chose the mortal life. He's the only one who decided to be an immortal elf because all 3 of his kids also decide to be mortal humans. So he goes to Valinor, lives forever all by himself.
Yep.
At least he has Galadriel. So I guess
that's something.
Yeah, like
I know a lot of people were upset at the first couple episodes because they felt like there wasn't a real connection between the characters from the movie and these characters. But these are thousands of years ago. People grow and change in our lifetimes. Like, could you imagine how much beings grow and change in the course of thousands of years? It's probably crazy. So I know a lot of people were like, this isn't my Galadriel or this isn't my Elrond. But I think in this episode, because I was feeling it a little bit, but I'm just like, it's different circumstances. And there was a lot of Galadriel being hard-ass Galadriel, but when they do the slow motion riding on the beach as they go to the was the Hall of Lore? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. The Hall of Lore, where Elendil learned how to speak Elvish and whatever. And she got the notice about like black speech and that there's a sinister plan underfoot to engulf all of Middle Earth in darkness or whatever the hell. She lightened up a bit. And I liked it. I like when the characters grow a bit, and they seem to do that in this episode as opposed to what we had seen in the first 2, except for the Harfoots, who are basically the same. Except the is it Brandyfoots? What are they? Brandywines, Brandyfoot. It's Brandyfoots, right? Yeah. Except them who are now going to accept help because they have to make sure that they don't miss the migration pattern. But I like that this episode had a lot of growth in it. It was really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked pretty much all of it. Like, um, yeah,
Yeah, I
like
mean, I don't give a crap about Ellen Deal's like the family drama and like the sea trial or whatever the hell. I don't really care about that necessarily, but other than that, I was pretty on board.
yeah, like I actually really kind of like that because like his dad, it's showing him coming up, which is I guess the reason why like once he takes the ring from Sauron, they're like, yeah, all right, he's already been through all this stuff. Let's make him king. That makes sense. Um, and like I'm ready to see like him and his brother and like his sister. She is technically a show original. She doesn't actually exist in the Tolkien mythology,
I would bet.
but and
What
in
a thing about making like human women things. There's like Eowyn. That's like it.
yeah yeah like in the story like Elindo's wife dies.
Mhm.
Well, she's been dead for a while, so I think that's the reason why like Isildur's brother is in the west,
Mhm.
say, and that obviously he comes back because we know like certain things about the future of the timeline.
Okay.
So yeah, like I was surprised we didn't see any more of like I guess we won't see Gil-galad again until Galadriel gets back. And whenever she's like, haha, I proved you wrong. Sauron is out there doing something. And then whenever, because, um, yeah, like when the elves finally get back and they're like, yeah, Mordor's, or whatever Mordor is known as at this time, is, yeah, orcs are everywhere. We got to do something. And that will make Gil-galad take some kind of action.
Mhm.
But,
I like
yeah,
when Galadriel introduced herself, and it didn't seem like people knew who she was. But then, like Isildur, he heard it. He was like, "Oh my god, the Galadriel, see her." I thought that was cool. I also liked when he got heard like whispers from the sea. Sort of planted that seed that he has like I don't want to say mental problem, but I mean he is like it seems like he has ghosts of the past that sort of talk to him about like what he should be doing. That
yeah,
sort of makes you think that that helped lead him to the path of I somebody or something was telling me that beyond the ring itself was telling me that I shouldn't throw this in the fire of Mount Doom. I should keep it. So I like that. It's a little additional pathos, which is neat.
yeah. I do wonder, like, I kind of hate that they didn't really explain how, like, Arondir. It makes sense that he got captured because he went explored that village, but like,
How did his dude in the Watch Commander get?
get also get captured.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And I do like that in the Peter Jackson movies, like the big thing about the Uruk-hai is that they're able to walk in sunlight.
Yeah.
Um, Orcs typically are not allowed to do that. That's the reason why, like, the mountain exploding and like Sauron spreading his influence allows them to cross the Pelennor fields without being hurt. So I like the fact that they're like wearing a skull or wearing a hood
Hoods. Yeah.
and stuff. It's really neat. I like,
I like the name Magrot.
yeah,
That was one the dude who like sliced the throat of his buddy of our Undeer's buddy. So I liked the name Magrot. I thought that should be names like that should be used more often. That was cool.
yeah. And then I don't know if you noticed, the elf or the orc. He was the guy who played him is the guy who played the "Why can't we have some meats?" orc, the Cockney orc that
Oh.
yeah.
I saw the name Jed Brophy show up, who plays fuck, what dwarf does he play? I think he's
Wait,
like I think he's like Nori. He was one of the. I don't know if he was one of the elves or the orcs, but
Yeah, he was the orc that cut the dude's throat.
okay.
And and then he's also the I want to eat the hobbits.
That's that dude too.
Yeah.
The guy who played that dwarf.
Yep.
Interesting. I was unaware.
Yep. And then
I mean, it's the same thing like the guy who played, I think was it Dory? Was one of the trolls in Unexpected Journey. So I get that.
Yeah, like I was really worried that this show, when it finished the first season, it was gonna make me like The Hobbit more because of how bad this was. But now I don't think that's gonna be the case, which that's good.
Hey, I just want you to know I got both of those dwarves right. I was unsure, but I was right.
And that's good. And now I know like one of our commenters was saying that this wizard is about 1,500 years early, but that's actually not true. The Blue Wizards, which now she's not watching.
Yeah.
She,
didn't want your answer.
well, so she was like, "You don't even know Tolkien. You guys don't even read Tolkien, do you?" And but I was like, "Yeah, Tolkien in his later writings does say that Philando and Aristamo, the Blue Wizards, get there around 2000 of the Second Age. It was just his earlier writings where they all five arrived at the same time. So, yes, I do know my Tolkien. Thank you.
You do. I don't. So
yeah. So I really like. If he turns out to be Gandalf, I'm going to be so mad.
I don't think he's going to be Gandalf. There are Gandalf things he does, like talking to the fireflies and whatever. But
yeah, but then he also like murders them, which is like
but he could be Gandalf on a bender or whatever.
Yeah, I really wonder. Like, I really, really hope that if he's Gandalf, I'm gonna be really mad. But I also now definitely don't think he's Sauron because Sauron would have known about the halflings before, and like in the context of the Tolkien universe, they're just like whenever he finds he finds Frodo and they take off all his clothes and crap and take his mithril and his elvish dagger that he has and his cloak and all that, and they present it to the men of the West and be like, why would you bring this spy to spy on us? Because they don't think for a lot. They're like, there's no reason why you would have such a small person in your army unless it was a spy. So if he had contextualized that, oh, these hobbits, they don't really want for anything. They might be the ring bearers. So I don't think, I hope it's not like, there's so many people that could be Sauron in this show. There's at least 3. And I don't know
how many people guessing the shell game.
Yeah. And I'm very very interested to see where it goes.
You're more hopeful now than you were last week.
Honestly, if this episode had been just as bad, I would have only been watching it for the sake of the show. And if you had said, hey, now that it comes out Friday mornings, I won't be able to watch it in time for the show, I would not have forced myself to watch it.
I will say from my perspective, I'm still only mostly watching it for the show, but I'm more comfortable with where it's going now.
Yeah, like I understand completely like where the budget is, like everything.
Numenor looked gorgeous.
Yeah, like
why would anybody want to leave here?
Yeah, like, and then
it looked like Sparta. It looked like ancient Greece, but like nicer than that.
And like at the end of the episode where Queen Regent Muriel goes and talks to her dad, she's like, the elf is here. So I'm like, I'm curious if this is like she's been putting on a front of, oh, we're against elves, so she could have like protect her dad because apparently he was loyal to elves.
Yeah.
And now she's like, crap, an elf's here, and I either have to step up and have her killed, or I have to reveal that I actually like elves,
Hmm.
and something's gonna happen there. So I'm really glad, like, skinny Slim Shady is not gonna be Sauron. I'm really happy about that.
Good.
Yeah, like unless he's already been revealed as Sauron and then he just takes that form. And I'm just like, okay. But if he's gonna be like the manipulator, he needs to have like friggin' Halbrand. Like that attitude is completely like if he turns out to be Sauron, I'll be cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we'll see.
Yep, I guess we will.
Yep, we'll see in about 168 hours. Or well, in 168 hours we'll talk about it. So in like 140 hours we'll know more about all of this.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, that was good. And since we you asked me, I mean you kind of told me what your overall thoughts were
Yeah.
on that.
I mean, yeah, it is my favorite episode so far. I like how I think maybe a bit of it is just that we're more established with the characters now, but I like the directions they're going. Somebody said, wouldn't the best like ending shot of this whole show be like the Harfoots setting off a couple of them and then like, oh, they're in the Shire. They're the hobbits now. Somebody thought that would be appropriate. When I was like, okay, yeah, I get that. That would make sense.
Honestly, for me, the end shot should be men and elves walking, and it's insinuated they are going to Mordor.
Towards the war in Mordor. Okay.
Yeah, the Battle of the Last Alliance.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see the Battle of the Last Alliance because in Tolkien mythology, it takes that battle is actually 5 years long.
Yeah.
And it's only like the last like few days where Sauron's like, oh, we're losing. I need to go out there and take care of business. But
he's like
that
Thanos in his chair, his floaty chair. It's like,
yeah.
Well, I guess I got to do it myself.
But yeah, like,
and then still not do it himself.
Yeah, I know. Get other people to kind of do it for you.
Yeah, I kind of do it myself, but for the most part, it's still other people.
But yeah,
I'm on the chessboard now.
But yeah, like, I think that should be the last shot.
That's fair. But overall, no, I'm a little bit more encouraged. I still don't like some of the shots are kind of dark still. I don't like that. But other than that, like cinematography wise, it's very striking. And it's good that they, for something that you want it to be such epic, everything's so sprawling with the map and all the different countries and whatnot. You want it to be equivalent to how you would want it to look given that nature of how large scale this is. So that's good.
Yep, I agree completely. Yeah, but yeah, that's the call of the show.
Yeah. Of course. We came in, we did everything we wanted to do.
Oh yeah.
Although we didn't talk about trivia, but that's fine. We can
I don't we don't have a whole lot of trivia stuff.
No, I mean we got tournaments and things.
Yeah, like I watched JD get kicked out of his match last week.
Yeah.
Hey, out there, if you're gonna play trivia, hands.
It's real easy, everyone.
Do this.
It's really easy. Or move your camera down so that your hands are always on.
Yeah, or like even if I'm not in the whiteboard round, I still keep this in my hand and have it right here. And
that always happens. That always happens to me. Like if I got a perfect round, they're like, "You don't need your board for this," and I'm like, "Well, I like to have it there for my nerves." So I have something.
Yeah, well, because also like I always have the score up here,
Yeah.
their score, and I have my repeats down at the bottom.
Okay. I do score on the top left, and I do repeats and challenges in the top right. I try to leave everything else alone.
Yeah, and so it's all four corners that there's something, so there's nothing in the middle.
Gotcha. Although I'm glad I have this big board, because when I played with Jake and we beat Knights of Ren the first time, Jake got really upset at me keeping score because my board was all crowded. It made it hard for me to write the 3 Bond actors that I wrote. And even though I got it wrong, I got it right. But he was like, don't ever do that again. I still do it. But I have a bigger board now, so it's harder to get caught.
Never mind. I'm going to stop talking.
Ah.
I was about to say something.
Ah.
But yeah.
I'm going to spoil something.
Yeah. So you guys can follow me on Twitter at Colton Roberts 8, and you can follow the show at Supernova_show.
Yep.
And yeah, that's pretty much the end of that. You have anything exciting?
At Robert Castner on Facebook, some trivia matches. I just had my one with Abel go up last week. So if you didn't know, I won that match. I'm in a #1 contender match. I'm this close to being double belted, everybody. Well, actually, I say this close, but really it's more like this because of who I have, who's coming up to who I'm going to play. So, but you know what I mean? So that, that's the only stuff I got going on. So just keep me in your minds.
Yeah, and I released another Pokemon unboxing video on my personal channel, so
Nice.
that was pretty exciting. Pretty much anytime we go to McDonald's, instead of my kids opening them, I open them on camera. And
Nice.
then have it.
I like it.
So yeah, woo. But yeah, all right, that's the end of the show. Let's call it a day.
Don't forget to tip your virtual waitresses, everybody out there. Supernova Show Landscape. Let's go.
Let's go.